If a club makes a loss, that means we've had more expenses than we have money come in, or income come in. So that's not so good.
那 loss 这个字的话，就是指支出。那你支出大于你的净收入的话，当然就是指你赤字的状况。所以相反的，就是我们不希望看到的这种真相。
So the bookkeeping transaction. So we say income is credited and expenses are debited. So credits are good, debits are expenses.
那这边的话有这个 credit 和 debit 这两个字，那就其实我们中文就要用加和减的意思。就是说 income 如果有收入进来的话是 credit， 就是正向；那 debit 的话刚好就是减的，就是支出的部分，就是正和负这样，加和减。
And all these credits and debits produce our profit or loss position.
所以这些你记录的这些支出收入到最后的话，你就知道你的损益。
The profit and loss is measured for a given period of time, such as a year. So that differs to the balance sheet. So the balance sheet is at a point in time. The profit and loss is over a period of time.
所以再说一次，我们刚刚早上看到的这个资产负债表是指时间点一个点，那这个所谓的损益表是指一段时间，所以这个差别请大家注意。那损益表的部分的话，通常会是以每一季或者每一年会做一次。
So the most common is over a financial year. So it would be 1st of June to 31st of May.
举个例子来说的话，那我们就从6月1号到隔年的5月31日，就通常准备资产负债表还有什么这样。
So all our transactions that happen in that 12 months.
那就是所有的细节都会记录在里面。
So this provides us an overview of the club's performance over a period of time.
那这两个表的话，加在一起就会告诉你整个俱乐部在这一段时间内的财务状况的表现。
So our profit and loss, as we said, consists of income and our expenses. And there's also other if there's some unusual transactions that may occur that don't happen regularly.
那这个损益表最主要的话，分别就是你看到左边的白板上面有收益，就是所谓的进来的以及支出的部分，所谓的费用。那当然还有一个 other 就是其他，那这些其他就是包含在这两个比较特殊的状况。
So these are our income classifications. So we have approximately 10 classifications. Now this is how AFC categorise them. So when we report, we're consistently reporting for all the clubs here and all the clubs across AFC.
好，那既然假设如果都要准备的损益表部分，在收入的话有这10点，在简报上这10点，那这10点是 AFC 在看你的损益表你必须准备的，也就是你各位如果是用 Excel 准备的话，请把这10点列入上去。
It's very important to get our classifications correct because that allows for the benchmarking report that AFC can produce to be accurate and also to allow the club's internal reporting to be able to be accurate as well so you can make decisions on correct information.
那另外很重要一点就是，当你今天有这个收入的时候，你必须把它分类，带来正确的选项。那分类的重要性在于，第一个，我们刚刚早上提到，就是 AFC 提供的这个标准的 benchmark 这个报告里面，如果你分类的选项错误的话，你这个报告里就会整个数据就会偏差。这是第一点。那第二点就是你在球队内部自己在做整个年度回顾的时候，你应该发现说自己在这10项的某一点到底是增加、减少，还是说完全没有的。所以这是当你今天有一项收入，你必须很准确把它分门别类的重要性。
So we're going to just run through briefly each one of these. They may or may not be relevant for your club. Hopefully in the future they all become relevant for your club.
我们就一个一个大概讲一下这10项哪些。
So we have media rights, which is TV, so that's amounts from broadcasting, television rights, advertisement and other media related income, social media income.
那第一个话就是所谓媒体的包含电视的权利，那这些权利的话包含转播、包含广告，还有其他跟媒体有关的这些权利金的收入。
So do any of the clubs receive any of this type of income at this point in time?
所以说，在座的俱乐部有，比如说转播啊，或是广告的
No advertising. Okay, sponsorship. So that's the commercial sponsorship agreements you put in place. So that's an area that was discussed yesterday. That's an area that will bring a lot of income as the league gets more professional.
那第二个是赞助的收入，也就是昨天我们常提到赞助商提供的一些费用上。
Is that a main source for any clubs? Sponsorship? Have we got
在
any?
座的球队有没有哪一个是有赞助收入的？对
Yep.
Sponsorship.
Yep. Sponsorship. Then we have the merchandising. So that's the sale of shirts and jerseys, flags, hats.
第三个产品收入，然后各个球队有卖衣服啊，卖一些相关周边产品。
大师收入，大师收入。
Yep. So, speaking with the Red Lions Club, they have a sponsor that provides their shirts. So that's a form of, it's not income coming in, but it's not a cost out. So that's a form of sponsorship. In the future, the goal is to sell a lot of merchandise, and then they get a percentage of that revenue from the sale of the merchandise.
那举红狮的例子来说好了，就是红狮的球衣是赞助商的，所以这个话就变成对等赞助金，但它这样赞助其实是实质的物品。那就是在未来的话，它可以转换成变成是说，它有一些衣服，然后那些衣服卖给球迷，它可以收多少的收入，那这时候就会变成合商的收入这样子。
So with the FIFA example video, the Kaiser Chiefs are earning 15% of their revenue from merchandise.
好像之前稍早的那个 FIFA 的影片，就是这支球队大概15%的收入是从它的产品。
We have the gate receipts and ticketing, so that's the income from the match day. So if you charge people to come and watch, which I don't think at this point in time, but as the league grows and you charge a fee, you will receive gate receipts and takings.
第四个话就是指比赛日的这些票券的收入，如果未来联赛有开始卖票的话，那就属于这个项目。
The AFC Club Championship games, there is a fee that must be charged. So the club will receive some revenue from that source as well if they qualify for that cup.
那举个例子来说，这个亚冠的联赛的话，它的票券是一定要买卖的，所以参加亚冠球队就起码在这个部分它一定比例的收入。
So transfer fee income, that is where the income you earn if you sell a player. So if you have a good player and another club wishes to buy them overseas or here, you will earn some income from selling the player.
那第五个就是转会费，就是球队如果转会的话，有一些费用，然后是可以收取。
And then we have income from the member association or the league that generates income, which is distributed out to clubs.
那在下一个的话是说，假设这些收入是整个联赛有收入的，那可能是在协会或在联盟，那联盟再分配下去给各个球队这样子。
And we have income from the government. That's your main source. Yes. So that's the income that the government provides to assist you with running the club.
那再来的话就是我们最主要各个球队最大宗的收入来源就是政府补助。
There is also some countries where companies may need to put money into sport or health. So there's opportunities that companies may have money to provide to clubs for under government policies.
那有些国家的话，它的政府规范就是说，你的企业它也需要投资在比如说跟这个运动有关的产业里面。那这一块也是属于就是因为是政府的规定，所以它也算是政府收入的部分。
So in Australia, some of our hotels, meals and drink beer, they have a government requirement that they need to put so much money back into the community, and a lot of sporting clubs get grants for that.
那举澳洲的例子来说，澳洲有些餐厅和饭店来说，它有一部分的税收是要回馈给社区的。那球队俱乐部也属于这个规范里面，所以有部分的资金会流回到俱乐部。
And then we have membership fees or season tickets. So when the club's winning and becomes popular, more people want to go, you can sell them a season ticket to your games or a membership for them to be a member of your club.
最后一个的话，这边的话是所谓的会员会费或是季票的费用，就是这个球队成绩越来越好，然后开始卖票，然后球迷进场可以靠这方式做收费。
So do any clubs earn any membership fees or season ticket income at this point in time?
目前有没有球队是有收会员费呢，或是卖季票的部分呢？
Then we have some, if you earn any rental income, so if you own your stadium or if you own trading facilities and you rent them out, you can earn income. So I'm not sure if many clubs earn this. No, probably not.
那再来的话是你的无论是球场啊，或者练习场或任何的空间是有租赁的，出租给别人啊。
And then there's other income which when you enter the data, it needs to be broken down. But examples of that are prize money. So for winning the competition or competing in the AFC Cup, any contribution from the owners, any marketing events that you make money on, or any other general.
那当然最后的话就是其他项目的收入，包含比如说比赛奖金啊，或是球队老板啊自己本身贡献的一些费用啊，或者是一些行销活动所产生的收入，这都算其他收入。
So similar to the balance sheet, we've got a handout for a profit and loss. Again, a fairly simple profit and loss.
那这边的话，接下来的话，刚刚我们有这个损益智商表，然后现在这是损益表的一个练习活动。
So you'll see up the top here, you'll see it says for the year ended 30 June. So that's for the full year.
所以刚刚左边的话有一个6月30截止，那当然这个6月30截止是整个年度，然后到6月30做绩效，所以我们刚刚讲的是一段时间。
And if you have a quick look back at your balance sheet, at the same spot you'll see it says as at. So at a given point in time, your profit and loss is for the year.
那你回去看早上的那个资产负债表，同样的一个位置，它上面会写 as of，就是指在6月30这一天的状况，所以两个差别是一个是时间点，一个是时间一段时间，这个差别在这边。
Okay, so again, my good guys, my incomes, again, we go over this side of the room.
OK， 所以现在这个这边右手边这一排会是你的收入 income 部分。
Now that's what we want to make, some dollars. You're my media TV rights.
10块钱的媒体权利
sponsorship.
，30块的这个赞助商收入
My merchandising man.
，10块的产品收入，
Here's the income from the league.
就是协会给予的收入，
Now, government income.
政府给的收入，
Now, membership fees and season tickets.
然后最后的话是这个机票的收入。
So everyone on this side, if you hold them up, we have
这边的把它写一下收入的部分，把它
they worth $10 each. We have 100. We have 100 on this side. So you can put those down for now, and we'll come back to those.
可以往下，谢谢。
These are our expenses, again as categorised for the AFC for the consistent reporting and benchmarking.
那今天我们看到的支出和就是所谓的费用部分，那这个跟 AFC 的报表里面需要列的项目一样。
So the compensation for players is the player's salary and any related costs for that player to play.
那第一个的话，最主要是支出在球员上，包含薪资啊或者其他的球员相关的支出的部分。
In the example from the Kaiser Chiefs, their expenses were 57% of their revenue.
我要早上的这个影片里面，就是他们有57%的支出都是在这一块。
Again, when we be able to input our data for all the clubs, we will be able to benchmark Chinese Taipei's positions.
那再次重申，就是当大家都把这个资料提供的时候，就有办法了解整个足球环境的数字大概是怎样的标准。
We have player transfer expenses, so any players that the club has purchased, there might be costs involved with that, such as agents' fees or other fees related to that.
那第二个是球员转会费，但这转会是转入你的球队的，也就是你会付一些款项，像是经纪人的费用啊，或是一些介绍费。
Then we have the compensation for coaches, so the coaches' salaries and costs associated with that.
第三个是教练费用跟教练相关的支出。
Then we have our club staff salaries, so that's the non-playing staff, your general manager, your administration, your finance manager, those people within the club.
那第四个是除了球员及教练之外的人力支出的费用，像是你的经理啊、你球场的维护人员这一些的。
So I'm assuming most clubs will have some of these expenses, maybe not that one, but the players, the coaches, the club staff.
所以目前的话，大家应该都会有这些上面支出的，转会比较少遇到，但其他3个支出应该都是各个球队都有。
And we have the operational costs for the team, so that's including their medical, insurance, the transport to games, the hiring of facilities and training grounds and training camps.
好，那再来的话就是你营业项目的支出，那这些包含你的劳健保啊，然后你的交通，然后你的可能吃饭啊这些等等，然后像移动的费用都在这里。
Then we have advertisement costs, so any costs that the club has incurred to advertise games or for the club in general.
那再下来的话就是广告支出，也就是如果有买广告啊，它放在这边，放在这边。
Then we have the stadium or training, so the rental or any fees you need to pay for the stadium training centre.
那再下一个的话是可能你无论是办理球赛或是练习，然后需要租用场地的场租的支出等等。
So most clubs pay a fee to use their stadium or training facilities.
所以目前在座的球队是你有这部分的支出的，就是球场的支出的部分，大家觉得是你要需要租用球场的练习。
Yep. And then the general administrative costs of the club, just to run the club offices, pay bills.
第二个是所有比较行政性质的费用，比如说你租这个办公室啊，然后你的水电费啊这些的，就是一般的行政性的支出，在最后面。
We have finance costs, so this is where if you have a bank loan, you might pay interest, so that includes in the finance costs.
那再来的话是财务上的支出，那这个支出是指说，假设比如说你刚刚提到的建造球场，那你可能有个贷款，那贷款里面会有所谓的利息，所以利息的支出是在这里。
And then just general any other expenses which we would break them down to make an explanation of what they are.
那剩下不属于以上这些讲的话，就是其他的支出，那主要详细列出的其他支出在哪？
So again, one of the big issues with the benchmark reporting around the world, around the countries in AFC, is making sure we categorise the expenses correctly. So when we benchmark, we actually get accurate information we can use.
那也再次叙述就是这个分门别类的重要性，就是每一个你的支出跟刚刚的收入其实是一样的，放对正确的，那整个报告做出来的，然后才会是台湾的足球情况。
So on our profit and loss, we have some expenses. Call them the bad guys. So start at the back here. We've got
后面没有参与到上活动的当支出的部分。
compensation for players.
球员的薪资30，
coaches,
教练的薪资20，
all the club staff salaries.
行政人员的支出20。
We have operational expenses of the team
营业上支出10块，
and the admin costs.
10块是营业行政事务。
So hold them up the back, guys.
有手上有拿到的，
Seems like you have enough. So,
OK，
our expenses have come to 90. So the good guys over here, can you hold up your
这边
dollars again?
右手边这边的，请把你的钱，有手上的。
Okay, so we've got our income on this side, up she goes. Our expenses on this side.
右手边是收入，然后跟支出。OK，
So our expenses, for each one of those you have, can you walk over and get
有支出的就可以走过来这边，跟手上有绿色的拿钱啊，收钱啊。
you take them back? Yep.
还有钱拿钱。
So all our expenses have been covered off. What have we got left? One. You'll see on the bottom, 10 is our profit. So we've had all our income, we've paid all our expenses, and we have our profit. So that's our profit.
损益表到最后有一个正的10留下。
Simple exercise, but that's how it works. We bring in our money, we pay out our money, we want to have a profit, it's a good result.
损益表之后就希望它正向的。
So just briefly, the one-off costs might be, so this is where it's not a normal transaction that's occurred during the year.
那像这边的话，我们看到的一些支出是one off 跟次性的，那这可能就是常态性的发生次。
So examples of this, it doesn't occur too often, but it might be if you buy or sell your stadium and make a good profit, or if an expense might be if you settle a big legal proceedings and you have to pay money out. So not normal transactions.
那举2个例子来说，一个就是可能你拥有一个球场，或者你要买一个球场，然后你把它卖掉这样子，所以这就是一次性的支出或收入。那另外下面的话，就可能你可能有一个法律的案件在处理，那这个案件可能也是支出或收入这所谓的就诉讼的费用。
So these still affect your profit and loss, but we separate them so when we benchmark, we can see that it's a one-off transaction that won't occur regularly.
所以这对主管机关来说的话，就是把它分在其他型的支出，所以不会影响你的那个标准 benchmark 数值。
So as per our example, we had the $10 left over here as a profit. So your net profit is where you have more income than your expense.
所以像我们刚刚的活动里面的话，就是我们有正的收入，主要就是有属于好的，因为是正值。
That's good. That's what we want. Our net loss, if we make the club makes a loss, so again, it's income minus expense, but it becomes a negative number. So we've actually spent more, we've had more expenses than we've actually brought income in. So it's cost us money to run the club. Not so.
那相反而言，如果当你这边的话负值大于比较多的话，你就是属于负向的收入。
You hope a club will make a profit and continually to make a larger profit as the years go by. There is times where, for various reasons, you might make a loss. However, the ultimate goal is to make profits for a long time.
那终极目标当然就是球队每年都把对收入部分越来越多，然后是属于正值的方向。
And how that fits in is the $10 profit we made. Think of that as cash money. So that's gone into our bank. So we've increased our assets. So the value of our company, our club, has increased because we've made money. It's gone into our bank now. So the value of our club has increased.
那我们想要找上加人息的部分，就是在你准备这个损益表之后，如果有正值的话，你这个10块钱就会属于你的现金流，就回到你的早上讲的这个 assets 资产里面，所以你整个球队的价值就更往上提升，因为你多这10块。
So for the workshop, we will assume that a club always makes a profit.
所以我们今天的活动里面，然后就是假设我们的球队是在稳定的有收入，正常的收入。
So they're probably the two most important, the balance sheet and profit and loss. They're the most important two reports.
所以资产负债表和损益表是所有的财务报表里面算是最重要的两个。那我们接下来看第三个财务报表。
However, as part of the reporting requirements for annual statements, there's also a cash flow statement. So basically, the cash flow statement just records cash in, money in, and cash out, money out.
那我们刚刚第三个叫做现金流的这个表，那这个现金流表也是主要记录的是你有哪些现金进来，还有哪些现金出去。
So it's similar to a profit and loss, but you might have transactions such as you get a bank loan from the bank, so that's actually money coming in. So getting some money from the bank as a loan coming in. So it's not a profit and loss, it's where your cash comes from, which is a lot of your income, and where your cash goes out, which is a lot of expenses, but there are also other things that are in the cash flow.
那这边大家要留意的点是，现金流和你刚刚早上谈的资产负债表的损益表差别是，你今天借了钱，在现金流这边其实有现金进来，所以你感觉它是正向，但是因为你是借钱，所以在你资产负债表上面，它是属于右边的，就是所谓你有欠债的方向，所以这个在就是脑袋上面要稍微动一下，就会有这个路径。
So we're measuring how well we are managing our cash. So when our money comes in, how well are we managing it? How are we paying our expenses? How are we paying off any of our debts?
那现金流这个表最主要的用意是在一个球队它如何管理你的现金流，就是你手上有多少现金，然后你要付哪些管理的方式。
We measure this over a given period, so over 12 months, a year, we will measure the cash flow.
那跟损益表一样的话，它这个是一段时间，那可能是一季或是一年，所以两个是用时段的损益表，还有这个现金流。
So our goal is positive cash flow. So that's more cash coming into your club and cash going out of the club.
那我们希望它也是一个正值的表现，就是说进来的钱是大于出去的钱。
And negative cash flow means you've had more cash go out of the club than has come into the club.
当然，如果你这个最后的等式就是负值的话，那就代表说你的钱出去的比进来的更多。
And that quite often, a negative cash flow is an indicator that the club might have some financial difficulties.
那如果当你这个表格是属于负的时候，其实也就是一个显示说你的财务状况有一些危机这样子。
Again, for the workshop, we'll assume that the club has a positive cash flow, so more cash coming in and going out.
那工作坊的目的也是希望就是大家有正值，所以我们也是假设球队你现在的收入现在的现金流进来是大于出去。
The other thing with cash flow that's important is the timing of when money comes in and when money goes out. You may receive your government grants on a quarterly basis, but you might have to pay your players every fortnight. So you need to make sure that there's enough cash to pay your players, to make sure that so your income might come in at different times to your expenses.
那这边也要跟大家讨论的地方是，现金流很重要的一点是，你什么时候要付给你的球员或者是供应商是很重要的，因为你同时也要考虑你手上的现金。假设政府是5月30才给你，但是你5月25就需要付钱给球员的话，你的现金流的表会因为29或30这个界定时间有很大的差异性，所以在你定这个报表的时候，你要非常小心。
So cash flow is broken up into 3 areas: operating, investing, and financing.
那金流表的话，分别有3个，一个是营业事务的这个 operating， 就是每天呢球队要开门要做什么 operating。那第二个是投资的活动，就是你可能用你的现金投资的什么东西。那第3个的话就是指财务方面，你用你的现金去在财务上做杠杆的这个处理。
So the operating activities are just your normal course of operations, your running of your club, income in, cash out.
所以第一个就刚刚提到，比如说你每天要水电费要出钱啊，一些交通费这些。
The investing is where you might purchase an asset, purchase a stadium, a training facility, so that falls into investing.
那第二个投资的话，比如说你现在买了装备、买了球场、买了什么东西，那就是属于投资型的活动。
And financing is where you might get a loan from a bank or you might repay a loan to the bank.
第三个是财务的话，包含你借贷的状况或者还钱的状况，它就是属于财务上的活动。
Now the good news is these statements are usually with accounting software. They're automatically prepared, so you don't have to manually prepare this, or often your accountant will assist you to do this, but it's often automatically prepared based on the information that's on them.
那这边的话，其实如果你有比如说像刚刚场面提到他的财务是外包的话，那你的会计师通常会帮你协助分别说你那个现金流是属于哪一个。那另外就是你如果使用一些软体的话，其实它当你花这笔钱的时候，它会判断说你到底是属于哪一种活动这样子。
However, it is important that the club understands cash flow, understands money coming in, money coming out.
那这边的话看到的主要就是其实现金是很重要的，就是各球队其实应该都要自己知道手上多少钱，然后哪些钱是马上要付，就是哪些钱马上能拿到。
I'm sure you'll agree you can't run your club if there's no money.
我相信各个俱乐部的人，如果你手上没有钱的话，你是没有办法做任何的活动。
And one of the biggest reasons why clubs or companies fail is because of cash flow.
那很多时候，其实不论是俱乐部这个公司，它到最后破产的原因，其实最主要就是因为手上的现金流嘎不过来。
You don't have the cash, hard to do things.
毕竟没有钱，没办法做事。
And the other things, as we said before, remember the timing. Sometimes the income comes in at different times to your expenses, so you do need to have cash there to pay your players regularly, pay your staff. The income might come in at different points in time, so you need to make sure that you have the cash.
那刚才提到就是说，这个现金进来和出去的时间点也很重要。各位必须好好评估说，你如果要付钱的话，要定在哪个时间点？因为收入进来的补助也好，或是一些厂商付你款项也好，会在这个要支出之前或之后，那都会影响到每个时间点上面的现金流。
Fourth part of the financial statements are what we call the notes to the financial statements.
那这边的话，第四点的话就是说，一些备注、注记，针对你刚刚提到的3个财务报表的一些注记。
So these are a requirement, and they are a very important part of the financial statements.
那这很重要的话，是因为它会解释一些你在刚刚提到3个财报里面的一些特殊状况或者一些解释。
So on our profit and loss and balance sheet, we just have numbers.
你刚刚看到2张报表，其实上面就只有数字而已。
The notes help to explain these numbers.
那这个备注其实就是解释给你的财报的这个会计师为什么这些支出或收入是这样发生。
And they provide more information about the numbers.
所以它有更多更细节的部分是可以让大家了解说你的财报状况为什么是这样。
So quite often there is a note for every item on the balance sheet to help explain anything on the balance sheet.
所以这跟看论文有点类似，就是你的每一个在你的资产损益表啊，或者你的负债表上面，会有一个数字，那这个数字可以对照到后面的这个解释，让外面的人也好，会计师也好，可以看出你这个表的这一栏为什么会这样。
So the notes ensure that you comply with the law and also comply with the regulations to allow you to play in the AFC Cup. So it's an important part of the financial statements.
那同时这个备注的话也告知，就是比如说像主管机关，比如像 AFC， 你的整个财务报表是没有符合它的财务规范，你的资格是没有符合每年度打这个国际赛的要求。
So some of the important notes that we'll find in financial statements are accounting policies. So what accounting policies have we used to come up with our financial statements? So that would be in accordance with the national regulations and national laws.
那这边的话就是比较普遍在这个背书会看到的。那第一点的话就是我们是用哪一个财报标准？因为国内有国内的，然后国家有不同的，所以你是依国际标准还是以中华民国国籍审？这是第一点。
There'll be a reference note for many of the assets and liabilities that are on the balance sheet, so there'll be further information on those assets.
那举例来说，第二点的话，像你的资产或你负债，可能只有一个数字。那在那边的话，会说好，你这个资产里面是有哪些项目，比如说有多少的现金啊，多少在详细介绍。
A very important note is what we call the controlling party or related party transaction. So that is where the club, the business who owns the club, may do business with other related parties. So the football club might be run by the energy company. It has to explain what they do business with each other.
那举个例子来说，就是第三点的部分是说，你的财务和其他第三方有任何的往来。那刚刚举例子比较有点类似像台电的状况，台电底下还有它的娱乐会的这个球队，那它和台电的关系是什么？那这中间的金流是怎么往来？
So, if you ever want to have a look at Manchester City, who's owned by the Sheikh. Their related party report is 20 pages long.
那举个例子，以曼城来说好了，因为曼城的所有人是这个酋长，那酋长底下有很多子公司，所以他说光曼城的这个财务报表的第三点，就长达20页解释说它的财务关系跟下次。
So they own a club in Australia, Melbourne City. So they have to include that in their report. Clubs elsewhere, transactions they do with other. That includes related parties, includes family. So he does business with relatives.
那举个刚刚曼城例子，比如说他同时属于曼城，他也在个人中就会有一个球队，那球队和球队之间是什么关系？另外，因为他是一个酋长，然后所以有很多的就是小孩子啊、亲戚朋友，所以他和这些亲戚朋友是什么样的关系？所以都必须在这边做进。
And the last one is what we call contingent liabilities. So that's where there is a potential risk for the club that they may have to pay out something in the future. So there might be a legal issue that somebody is suing the club, a player, and so there's no outcome, but there could be a potential cost to the club in the future. So we let people, we include that in our accounts so we're aware of it.
那第四个话是比较属于说潜在性的危机。那这个话举个例子来说，就是可能俱乐部和球员或俱乐部和进行诉讼，那这诉讼目前还没有结果，还在进行就是审议的阶段，所以有可能要每笔钱是需要做支出的，所以这边就备注在第四个就是紧急性的支出这样子。
And the last item in the financial statements is a financial review by management. So this is where management writes how the club went. So it's a summary of the financial statements that management are giving, so they are aware of their club's financial position.
那这最后一个部分的话，财报这部分是属于你的财务人员，他要对你整个财报做一个简单的摘要，那就是包含他知道说目前财务状况是怎样，潜在的危机，然后潜在的机会，然后去财务人员对整个俱乐部的了解。
So it explains the financial performance for the year, any risks for the club, any reasons why the performance was so good or so bad.
那比如说里面就会提到说，为什么球队今年表现财务表现上是好或不好，那或是什么原因，那甚至是有什么刚刚提到的可能的危机，比如说你有法律的诉讼正在进行，那这个会在这个摘要里面提到。
And it also includes anyone who was on the executive or the board of directors during the year, whether they're still there at the end of the year or not. It includes who those people are.
那当然，最后一点会提到就是说，目前如果是一个公司来说，理事会成员有哪些？那这些理事会成员是新是旧，或者他的任职直到什么时候？在这最后摘要帮他提到。
So a brief summary: how the club went financially, what are any risks for the club, and who was managing the club.
所以简单说要讲，刚刚我们讲最后一部分的摘要部分，需要包含就是说，第一点是你俱乐部现在的财务状况。 然后第二个是你俱乐部面对的财务有可能的潜在危机，然后第三个是说你目前的执行董事有哪些董事会有哪些成员，就这3点在材料里面必须提到。
So they're the 5 things that make up the financial statements in full. And then the requirement is that the financial statements are audited.
这边提到的话，接下来的话就是我们刚刚早上讲到审计，也就是我们准备了这么多资讯之后呢，接下来就是要给第三方、公正方做审计。
So we'll just touch on this briefly, but it is a must that there is an independent auditor.
所以有2个要求在审计论，第一个是它是第三方、公正方独立的审计人员。
So Taiwan Accounting Federation of Accountants, they're members of the International Federation of Accountants, Taiwan Accounting. So they adhere to the world requirements for independence in auditing.
这边翻译上可能有点失误，就请大家先包含。他讲的应该是台湾的会计师公会是属于国际会计这个，就像是依法的程度国际单位的成员之一，所以他有一个名单，就是这些哪些是第三方公正的会计师做签证。
So as an example, if you are the CEO of the company and your brother is the auditor, that wouldn't be allowed for independence.
所以假设比如说你是这个公司的主席，但是你的哥哥可能是一个会计师，那这样就不算是独立的公正的财报做审议，就是要第一稳定的概念。
Whilst he may be qualified and does a completely fine job, under the independence, he can't be the auditor because there's a potential that there could be a conflict.
就这边提到就是因为这是利益回避，他可能是一个很好的会计师，但是因为就是2边有关系，所以他不能帮球队做这个审计。
So the independence removes the chance of conflict.
这就是请各位就是在选择第三方的审计人员的时候，要针对这一点来做厘清。
And what an audit report actually is the auditor will issue a statement saying that the financial statements, the full financial statements, are accurate and free of any material errors.
那什么叫审计报告呢？第2点的审计报告，审计报告就是指当你找这第三方的审计人员来做整个查核，查核都没有问题的时候，他会提出一个审计报告，就是说所有的财务报表都没有任何在提供的资讯上有任何问题。那什么叫提供资讯？就是指说你这个报表做完了，你该提都给他，他是根据你提的东西做审计。也就是假设你没有任何状况是在你提供给他的资料里面错误的话，第三方审计人是没有错的，因为你没有提供给他的资料，所以这是为什么要这样写给大家原因在。
And that's what we refer to as a clean balance sheet. It's
就是什么叫 clean balance sheet？就是在你的report出来，如果都没有任何问题的时候，你的资产的负债表就是所谓的 clean 干净没有问题。在这部分有没有任何的问题？
So the balance sheet and profit and loss are the 2 most important, but the other 3 are needed, and the cash flow is important for the club.
所以，我先翻译这边。那我们在是提供到这财务报表的5个重要的东西。第一个是那边的 balance sheet 资产负债表，再来是 profit and loss 损益表，然后再来是 cash flow 现金流，然后第4个是刚刚提到的就是总结的部分摘要，然后第5个就是这边审计的部分。所以呢，整个健全的财务报表是包含这5个大的要素。表示
就是如果提出俱乐部的申请，就是要这5个，
对，
是吗？
是的，在那个 AFC 的 callback 是要这些，
就是需要这5个项目。然后
the question is the 5 elements required in callback experience.
So that makes up audited annual financial statements, those 5, and that's a requirement for AFC club license. So that's the next step. We need to get the clubs to have that reporting in place.
那我这边再可以注意一下刚刚李老师的问题，就是各位如果有看那个 class， 就是你的俱乐部指导的这个系统里面的话，在 financial criteria 里面，其实看下去，它会有这5个东西需要上传。那很多数字它其实是要提进去，就是直接用打进去的，或者说你找一个Excel档案这样子。那它的目的就是刚刚我们讲的 benchmark， 它把这些资料收集起来以后，它还做有同步怎么做计算。所以其实大家都有一个一个你要教什么这样子。
而且，然后他刚刚我记得有讲一个，就是说亚足联它是有提供一些软体，是不是？因为刚才
就是那个会计软体。The question is, you mentioned about the accounting softwares, and believe that it has some suppliers. How they contact suppliers?
Yes, good question. We'd probably be talking to the accounting firms or the accounting federation if I want to see what they recommend as the software to use, and then telling the association for that.
这边可能跟廖老师解释一下，就是他们是提供这些哪些名单，就是它的系统是可以就是被接受他们使用的，但他们就是提供这个系统给球队的协会。那他希望还是电子化，所以他会提供一些名单，有点跟你要做人工草原，必须把有新的名单的状况是一样，但是没有说哪一个比较好，或者哪些是比较差。
So in Australia, Xero is a popular software, the XDRO.
所以像在澳洲，他们是用叫 Zero 的这个软体做这个会计。如果没有的话，我们现在就是做一个快速的一个活动这样。
This man might look familiar.
相信大家都知道这一位球员，
His name's John Aldo.
他叫做 John，
His twin brother of Ronaldo.
他是C罗的孪生兄弟。
And he's just signed for a Taiwan club.
所以他现在跟台湾的某支球队签约了。
And apparently he's better than Ronaldo.
据说他比 C 罗还要厉害。据说。
So what we're going to do for the group activity, we might just do this line, this line, and this line. We'll get together, and what we'll look at is what income and what expenses for your club may be affected because of this signing. It's a very good way.
那接下来我们会拆成3组，就3组都讨论。那你会拿到这个表，要把你觉得会有的收入，还有会需要人的支出写在这个表上。
So I'll bring back the income up there, or you can look at your forms. You'll have those incomes and those expenses, and you can go through as a group and work out what's going to make more money, but what's going to cost the club more for our signing of Ronaldo.
大概几分钟的时间，然后大家就分组讨论一下，就有哪些你可以参考你刚刚的笔记里面有哪些收入会有，哪些支出你需要负担。
One per group? Yeah, one per group.
一组一组这样做，然后大家讨论。
Other than that, you can join together as a group.
进项出项，进出嘛。
就转会费啊，转会费第一个啊，转会费是高，一定会有支出吗？我就可以考虑。
大概有10分钟的时间可以支出跟收入。
我们今天讲付钱嘛，我觉得这个花钱就是
时数一定会增加。
是吧？
对，他生活费可能就是 operation，
生活费，零用金
零用金啊，那算是那个薪资。
是的，这样子要写在几年了，对吧？零用金那个，
零用金那个就是算是薪资。
薪资就跟报酬一样。
先写，先写。
对。
就
要不要写在大象车旁边的？假设你要
就已经算一个。
老师那个没有在这边，就是就是这张，这个我们要签就才有在来，不一定对，就拿走。他们签在台湾，在这边，
对啊，
就这张来的。
这个要
最后没有，还没到这一张，这张是，就是你要签一个球员，你要花哪些成本？对，你会想到你要花哪些钱？有哪些要花钱？当然，哪些会靠他赚到钱，靠他赚到钱。
花钱啊，花钱，
可多啊！
赚钱的形式。
老师想要赚，对啊，花钱的实际收益啊，宿舍那个。
住宿我说的是增加的费用，你可能搞不好你要买一间房子，还是那个花钱。
直棒住宿舍嘛。如果店也可以住啊，
有可能要求到住的不地方，
要求啥？
没有，对，那个都是
假设啦。没有，
钱啊，那个不用
你先把主要的先写。
老婆那个。
应该是可能体检书体检费用。
我听到医疗保险。对啊，保险也算。就会痛的东西。你要卖他球，你卖100件，卖1000件，像那个 S 卡一样。对，一年要提供4张支票。
这讲那么多，然后那个他的身边的那些翻译啊、专属的，那搞不好他想要专属厨师那个有可能。
大象是行政，在私下就是翻译
啊，随身人员，他可以。如果你是你。那就其实你那个规划，行政费是会增加的，那就是这些行动费会增加。你签一个他加专属，你都已经签他，你还不加专属？
当成4个。
我已经说到你7有一些2人。太细了，就已经讲的都是远到哪里去了。
他本来就是说列出来啊，就要列细的啊。
花了一些。
球衣啊，
球衣那个是在收入的。
跟他交代。
没有
球衣
提供的衣服给他，对，以球队来表现，就是做给他。而且还有那些行销，对，这个是行销，帮他拍照啊，帮他做东西啊，还没赚钱，先拿钱来做。对啊，
快点，想快点，不然好忧郁，有没有花钱？好忧郁，一样的，后来他赚钱，为了花钱，很伤心。我还卖他的专属球衣。
就是卖专属球衣的球，他手可以挣，他专属的，广告代理，广告代理绝对可以，
可以啊，可以。品牌收入，品牌代理。
广告收入，那你内涵广告收入。
他来一定会有
啊，单独的就是赞助他的赞助，赞助这个球员的赞助商。对，因为他的比赛门票会增加，门票增加的话也算都500个，那个都500个。
对成绩受惠于他来的话，当然是这样干啊。
你要把它签，球迷会。
因为我刚付那么多钱。
对啊，我很贵啊。
对。就反过来，
还有月薪，月薪没薪。
对对对，薪水。
先要赚钱，付钱干嘛？付钱不用这样子，都是身体不赚钱这样子。哎，海外的，有的是外的。超群。
权益金。和权益金不一定在
未来卖掉的权益。
转播权益金，没有，就是全体，
都是球队，
但是我目前没有，会不会因为他来，所以就变成要赚钱买他的？
各式商品应该是就是商品那些钱就打下来。那就赚，这样子感觉美股也有差不多行业，
活动收入。
啊，对了，就是额外的厂商，大家需要去活动，要赞美他，赞美他。
marketing event， 然后他来球队打得好的话，体积会增加，就去打 AFC 可能。没错，他的支出有奖金，可是你的收入也是有奖金的。你 AFC 看过？
因为他踢得好，你当初比如说你踢得好，
但是同样的你踢得好，你那个杯赛的奖金算在里面。对啊，你因为他你的球队成绩变好的话，你的收入在这边。联赛奖金、杯赛奖金、比赛奖金。
你看像这选手多钱？
他如果受伤就是
那是保险，那都是在保险，那都是在保险。
保险，
你帮他保了。
你看你要写东西啊，坐飞机掉下来，
人也是保险之一。
你要多细，挂掉也要，
没办法一个合约进去。
没有，就看保险公司买账，比如说刮一条，
他的保险是高于其他的。
这种生意啊，就是可以3万保险。
人家要。
那个算到，可是我觉得是算 operating， 那个算是你手机那边不会因为它爆出来。那个我觉得还好。operating 快乐那边我在讲你。没有，那是 打比赛的时候是变好的。你去打 UFC 看的你有中罗应该可以拿冠军。政府收入不会因为这个增加。没有那个奖金，那个就是打得好没有政府打得好跟没有打得好跟政府收入相关。不是，没有，不是那个是我们那个是没有，那个是那个是我那个是我那个是一般的那个跟然后对，但是影响我成绩是我联赛给他的选手证，而且是我们给这个联赛的选手，也是政府分配的。现在政府就协会，他会觉得是
小孩来日本，看他们日本怎么打，
是，比如说我今天在亚协杯，我打了越进去，每多打越一场比赛，我就一场比赛的球比赛等级。
对，然后查一下 Vesta 来
日本，
怎么榨干他的那个神父队是榨干他。张敏，你不是喜欢的这个的话，我想问人家讲的把它洗掉。
小白去日本应该讲很多。
那时候球衣就卖没卖啊？没有，现在 C 罗等级，C 罗球衣卖到变降级好不好？C 罗球衣顶级都可以用的，变卖。然后那个时候，他是有不卖一件吗？收入也是，这之前你穿吗？你明天穿2号，我都对不起他。大家
所以说以后
好，表示你们蛮善善，我们家上进来，2号这样基层房里面，
就是我在想有多少食物。
老师你讲一下，老师刚讲一下，
我觉得出席活动。
都 OK 了吗？各位，各位都 OK 了吗？
足球鞋，专属足球鞋，广告代言。
好了，那我们就大家分享一下喽。
就是
OK。
转会权金，将来把它卖掉。
哦，将来
将来把它卖掉。
Okay, we might get each group to stand up and give us 2 incomes, and we'll start with the income. So we'll get A, B, and C. Group A to stand up and give us 2. Each group give us 2 until we run out.
那等一下我们的讨论方式就是一组站起来，一个代表站起来，然后我们先从收入的部分讲2个你找到的，那2个讲完的话，下一组就不能讲上一组，然后直到我们都讲完，有2个这样子下去。OK， 好，那我们现在请来 A 组。
先讲收益。
对，银行的部分。
门票跟广告。
So it's ticketing and advertisement.
Yeah.
Why? 为什么？
因为他很厉害，所以大家都买了他。那广告就是他的形象是他上市场的。
So from ticket is a good player, so people buy ticket to see. And for merchandise, advertisement, it's good looking and it's good player, so of course generates sponsorship. Very good. OK， 好，来。刚刚讲是门票跟广告，然后
那个媒体授权
media rights，
还有那个赞助
membership， so membership fee and media.
Okay. Why media?
Why media？ 为什么？那个媒体权利为什么？
因为你来了大明星之后，那个媒体的广告会比较高，就可以收到，就可以跟媒体一样。
So basically, that with the big superstars, they have a longer more games or you get purchased.
And membership, why?
为什么会员费呢？
因为它是会招来更多的会员，然后想要加入这个会员俱乐部，然后得到更多他的讯息，或者是他的一些比如说桌布啊，或者是会员卡之类的。
So as a member, that you probably get some exclusive access. So you want to
Very good. Excellent.
好 ，OK， one, C。
我觉得是，可以开发他专属的一些商品，
Merchandise.
比如说他专属的足球鞋啦、球员卡啦、他的海报啊，然后可以卖很多他的球衣。
Jerseys, exclusive booths, player cards, such and such.
然后，将来再把它卖出去。
And then potential transfer fee in the future to other clubs.
Very good. Yes. Yep.
What about Ace?
If we have soccer academy, then more kids will want to join.
Okay. 所以有可能是他有青训，假如球队有青训的话，可能很多小孩子看到他就想要来参加他的就是青训。
Then we can do activities, different kind of activities. People will come, buy tickets, spend money, buy stuff.
有可能是一些行销活动，比如说举办一个活动，然后他会出现，然后就可以卖票让大家民众来参加。大家来让我15分钟，来开始下一题。Sponsor, OK.
因为他所以会有人来赞助。
OK， 所以 sponsor 讲过，还有呢？还有其他的？讲过 sponsor 讲过。那比较算是支出吧？不是正常奖金。OK. Prize money from the league if you win.
Very good. Yes. Yes. From the league, from the AFC Cup, when you win the AFC Cup.
被讲光了，
被讲过了。
肖像啊，
肖像权，
肖像权
，so IP rights. Yep. 没有看还有没有？还有没有？有吗？还有吗？
那个花钱的
活动收入应该拿不到。
So this group, you might rent out your facilities for training camps for kids. Set over here, so that's a good one. We might get more income from the association, from the government. They might put more income into the sport. So, but excellent answers, well thought of. We'll go to our.
大家都提到了，想要提到的，那像刚刚有青训的部分啊，或者说政府会投更多的钱在这个运动。
With Ronaldo, we have expenses. Start from that side.
对，支出的部分，我们现在从最左边这边的边开始。
支出呢？
转会费啊，
转会费啊，最近
或者说 transfer fee expenses.
Yes.
球员薪资啊，是
compensation for the player.
Yep, they're the two easy ones.
好，来，支出。
这就是需要一些保全人员保护他。
It's a celebrity, so you have a person cost for securities.
Excellent. Yes, definitely.
他的医疗保险。
It's a bigger medical and insurance coverage because it's a superstar.
Yes. So those costs. Yes. Okay.
So all the visa, work permits, documents.
Yep. Associated costs with the player.
行政的费用，比如说外籍球员还有一些签证费啊。
Housing.
然后住宿，假设他是一个球员，然后帮他租个房子，也 OK。还有吗？
比赛奖金。
Prize money for player, incentive for the player.
Yes, good one. Very good.
然后 包括我们要帮他做一些商品的时候，也是要有支出设计。
So the fixed costs for producing merchandise.
Yes. Inventory costs will go up. You'll sell more merchandise, and it'll cost you more to create the merchandise.
哪个？
对。
来吗？
留给人家
是给我
没关系，有没有？
因为要买它，所以我们要去跟你们贷。
So interest expense. Maybe they want that money to go up.
是你现金流不够。
Maybe yes. Or you might sign long term, and you might buy a stadium because more people are coming, so you might have to get a loan to buy a stadium. But yeah, you might have to lend money to buy the player. Yes.
没错，就是有可能是这部分现金流大不过来，要拿多一点，利息支出。然后 you give to him. So 你要像刚刚讲到肖像权，那但是你要付给球队肖像权费用。有一些球员他的基本装备啊，他的球衣什么，你要给他的一些基本装备支出。Okay,
that's pretty good. Yeah. So we may have higher administration costs if we have more members. We have more staff to run the club. Maybe more advertisement because we want to spend more to put billboard up.
买更多广告，所以你有买广告的支出。
But as you can see, this example, not more income, but also more expense.
对，就是越做越大，就责任越大，权利和义务都越大。
So it's important to make sure we get more income than expense, profit, good.
就是既然回到我们刚刚讲的那个加法减法，就是你越多的收入减掉少一点点支出，那你球队就越来越健全。
So this is where it's important to think about the financial decisions to make sure buying the player is good for the club.
那所以的话，这边会连接到接下来的就是下一堂课的预算，就是必须去衡量做这个行动的时候，到底对球队的支出和收入会在哪里。好，所以我们在休息之前，我们做一点小小的考试，非常好。
When we all get 5 out of 5, we'll have a break.
所以如果有出5题你都答对，我们就休息。
But I'll let you mark your own paper.
但是就自己改考卷，自己改考卷。
And you can look at your notes.
而且你可以是开卷，开书 open book， 你可以看你笔记。
Okay. Question 1. So we have our balance sheet, profit and loss, and cash flow. Which one is at a point in time, and which two are over a period of time?
所以我们刚刚讲到资产负债表、损益表还有现金流，那哪一个是属于时间点？哪两个是属于一段时间？先写下来。Write it down.
And just write it on the paper, yeah. So one is as at a period of time, the other one is over a period of 12.
讲到3个表格：资产负债表 （balance sheet）、损益表 （profit and loss），还有 cash flow 现金表。哪两个是属于一个时间点？跟这样，哪两个是属于一个时间一段时间？哪一个是属于在一个时间点上？
一段时间
跟一个时间点。在准备这个表格的时候，哪两个是需要一段时间的？哪一个是属于一个时间点的
And a little hint, if you've still got your balance sheet and profit and loss, one will say as at.
你看你刚刚的2篇到2个范例里面有写时间哦。
应该是收益是
OK。好，第2题哦。
Okay. Which one are the assets and liabilities recorded on? So which one of those?
哪一个表格是我们的资产及负债放在它的表上面？然后提到3个表，哪一个表格上面有这个资产 assets， 还有负债 liability？
So assets are things we own, liabilities are things we owe, debts.
OK， 没问题，那我们下一题喽。
Next question is, when we categorize our income and expenses, why do we want to do that correctly? One reason why we want to categorize them correctly.
在我们分配，我们刚刚讲到就是现金流部分，为什么我们要把这个收入和支出分门别类的很清楚？什么原因？最主要什么原因？我们要把每一个收入和每一个支出分门别类的非常清楚，不能乱标。OK 吗 ？OK， 我们就下一题喽。
Okay. Is it generally better for your club to have positive or negative cash flow?
一般而言，你的俱乐部是有正向的现金流比较好，还是负向的现金流比较好？一般来说。OK， 那我们下一题喽。OK， 好。
If a club gets a loan to buy Ronaldo, where would we see that recorded? The club had to get a loan to buy.
如果你现在球队要买刚刚那个 Ronaldo， 不是 C 罗，是 G 罗，你要买 G 罗，你的 expenses 写的中。
So if we got a loan from the bank, where might we see
如果
that?
用贷款哦，买 G 罗，你会这笔贷款你会在刚刚上面这3个财务报表里哪些出现？就是这笔钱会出现在哪3个报表上？哪几个报表？
So it's a loan that we're going to have to pay back in the future.
记得这是贷款，所以贷款是未来你要付的。OK 吗？
对。
如果 OK 的话，我们就要来公布答案喽。好 ，OK。Answers.
So who's brave enough to give me an answer?
有没有人自愿站出来讲5个答案
First question was, which one is at a point in time, and which one is over a period?
来，第一题是时间点和一段时间。来，长明。
We've got the balance sheet.
长明是
对，balance sheet 先
point of time.
At a point in time, correct. And then profit and loss and cash flow. Period of time. Excellent. Yes. Did everyone get that one right? Did you marking your own?
应该考卷哦，就是在从这边 balance sheet 是时间点，一个时间点，另外 cash flow 还有 profit and loss 这2个是属于一段时间。Okay.
The second question was, what are the assets and liabilities recorded on?
在这个资产与负债是在哪一个表上面我们会备注？有没有人记得？
Someone be brave.
Come on，大家。Now,
The assets and liabilities, what are they recorded?
Assets and liabilities, everything we own, for example,
Yes.
money,
Yep.
Players.
Yep. Where is it?
Whereabouts?
Where? In the assets, balance sheet.
Balance sheet, correct? Yep.
所以资产及负债我们是记录在资产负债表上面 ，balance sheet 上面。
And there also might be references in the notes to accounts as well.
所以记住我们刚刚提到有5个，第5个备注的地方，备注你会写备注。
Balance sheet. What we're after. Yeah.
说资产负债表。
So one reason to ensure the income and expense is categorized correctly.
好，第3题，为什么这个收入和收支要记录正确的？
There's a few reasons.
蛮多个原因。
To compare, yes.
来做比较，还有呢？
So that's the benchmark to compare.
还有没有？ To know the position of financial position.
Excellent, yep. To understand where your financial position is. They're probably your main 2 answers. Also for AFC requirements, the association, and maybe for budgeting. The 2 answers we got is what we wanted to hear.
那
Excellent.
当然还有是 AFC 还有协会的要求的基本标准要这些，然后分别的清楚。Okay.
Question 4 is, do we want positive or negative cash flow?
第4个是现金流，我们要正向现金
Positive or negative? Yes. Positive.
正向，这样正向现金流。
And the last one was, if the club got a loan to buy a new player, where might that appear up here?
对，居罗的贷款会出现在哪几个财务报表上面？
Might be a tough one to finish up.
来，华伟要不要试一下？
好呀。资产吧。
Balance sheet.
Balance sheet, yes, because it's a liability that something we owe back to the bank, so we will see it on the balance sheet.
这个是贷款，就是贷款会在负债上面，balance 上面会 balance sheet.
That's the answer. And also, you might see it on the cash flow because you're getting money from the bank, so you'll see it in there. But the answer we wanted is the balance sheet, but it will also be on the cash flow.
那同时也会有现金流，因为你贷款有现金进来，所以你在现金流上面有一个正向，就是现金流是或者收费。
End up 5 out of 5. If we all got it, we go have a break.
大家都5题都对吗？有人错的，没有错的就留下来下课。OK， 那现在现在是时间2点半抓的刚刚好，3点回来，3点休息半个小时时间，3点钟我们开始最后一个阶段，谢谢各位。